Greetings all, thanks for tuning in. Today we're taking a look at my newly revised retro gaming setup and collection for my apartment. Let's get started. By the way, my wife has started a new company called The Shirt Hoard. If you like cute and nerdy things like this mug here, go to the link below. And also, if you're a fan of electronic or metal music, feel free to check me out on Spotify or here on YouTube under Twisted Identity. All my socials will be linked in the description. First up, one of the things that I am the most proud of is this wall here. We have some tiny arcades. I forget the actual name of it. I think it's just tiny arcades, but I have those plastered to the wall. They just kind of look like cool little ornaments. Got the Blockbuster Pop figure, little Dexter sticker that I couldn't resist. Have a couple things from a convention, Korgs in Columbus, Ohio. Just a couple stickers here. Here's one of my favorite things in here is this Mortal Kombat marquee that's autographed by Paul Niemeyer. Super nice guy too. Here's a really cool lenticular picture of all three Castlevanias for the NES. As you can see, the first Castlevania, Simon's Quest, Dracula's Curse. Good stuff. Here is a print of a painting that I found, I believe, in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Another Castlevania thing. And here's the credits. I found this awesome poster that came out of a Nintendo Power magazine for Dracula's Curse. I think this was 1990. And finally, for the wall, I have this little shelf with all these amiibos on it. So we have Richter, Simon, Ryu. I thought this was a very perfect way to display these, and it was very cheap to get these. I don't remember the exact price on Amazon. I'll put it on the screen. So here's the meat and potatoes of the setup here. Of course, you have to have a CRT. This is nothing too crazy. It's just a little Sylvania. It's 19-inch. Yeah. You have this wire shelf, which works very well. You have another rack. Both of these things came from Amazon. They were very cheap to get. You have just a CD tower with some NES games, PS2, random stuff. We'll take a closer look. So underneath the TV, we have the actual card itself. I just got this wire shelf from Amazon. Pretty cheap, very easy to put together. Pretty versatile too. You can adjust this very easily. It takes no time to assemble. On the bottom shelf here, we have all my backup games. And then on the second shelf, we have my controller shelf, basically, with all the stuff that I use on a regular basis. I got it ordered by system here, so pretty much anything on that cart, there's a controller down here for it. It's all wireless pretty much. So you got your 8-bit DOS, your retro bits, good stuff. I got a Retro Fighters pad back there. And something I want to throw out. Nobody talks about this particular controller. This is a Logitech cordless action controller is what they call it. In my opinion, this is the best controller that you can get for PS2. The D-pad is crazy accurate. It's almost like a Sega D-pad with how accurate it is. The thumbsticks feel great. This is extremely durable. 2.4 gigahertz controller, and I think the ergonomics are much better than the original OEM controller. Next up is the console rack itself. First, we have a SNES Junior. I think this is a lot cooler than the first model, to be honest. The video quality is ever so slightly sharper, too. EverDrive, Super EverDrive X5, wireless controller plugged in. You gotta have your NES, rocking Cobra Triangle right now. Another wireless controller is plugged into that. This one I disabled the 10 NES chip and also repaired the cartridge connector. I didn't swap the 72-pin connector, I just bent the pins back. So this thing has a nice tight grip on it, and it reads the first time every time, as long as your cartridges are actually clean. You have your AV switch back there, labeled by system. Just some speakers plugged into the TV. Genesis Model 3 with a EverDrive X7, I think. And another wireless controller plugged into that. The reason why I went with the Genesis 3 is because I'm short on space. And to be honest, I have other ways to play 32X and Sega CD anyway. Also, I think the video quality on the 3 is better than the Model 2 Genesis, at least. I've got a Model 2 in the closet, and I tried both side by side, and this one came out on top for video. Dreamcast, of course. This is a Model 1, so backup support. Got another wireless controller plugged into that. Got a Wii that's modded, so I've got, Neo Geo, Wii, GameCube, TurboGrafx, all that fun stuff on this thing. You gotta have a Sega Saturn in your collection. Got the pseudo Saturn 4-in-1 cart plugged in so I can play backups on that. It's also a RAM cartridge and a memory backup, so another wireless controller. That's a retro bit in there. This is one of my favorite things in the collection is this system. Has so many bangers on it that people don't realize. PS2 Slim here with free McBoot on it. I do still collect PS2 and PS1 games though, because to be honest, the free McBoot only works half the time. Speakers down here, nothing special, just some cheap Logitechs, but it's better than the inbuilt speakers in the TV. Got the Fat Boy PS2 right there. It's not plugged in, but I got that there just for backup, and I have nowhere else to put it. Something I want to do with this eventually too is redo the cable management. I mean, it's nice and clean right now, but I have a couch over here in the back. So I would like to actually be able to move this cart here in front of the couch occasionally so I can really chill out. Have this little thing just as a footrest and to put extra little controllers and accessories in it. So like you have a GameCube controller there, wireless keyboard if I happen to use a Raspberry Pi. This is just an extra drawer with some more controllers and adapters and things like that. You have the Mark I Sega Saturn controller. A lot of people hate this controller. I don't think it's too bad. It feels nice in the hand. Cool little retro bit Street Fighter controller. Not too bad actually. The Mark II Saturn controller. Retro bit Genesis controller. This one's wired. I'm actually really surprised at how good these retro bit controllers are. They get mixed reviews, but I've had several and I've not had a single issue with any of them. Hyperkin NES controller. I actually kind of like this better than the OEM one because it has some butt cheeks to grab onto, and these are kind of cut down so they don't jab into your palm. So this is a pretty cool little unit. We've got so many of these freaking PlayStation controllers, not even funny. 1, 2, 3, the one that was in here. Yeah. Another GameCube controller hiding down there. PS2, oh, I've got 5 PlayStation controllers, Jesus. Retrobit SNES controller is actually not bad either. Cool little Mega Man controller. It's not the best thing to use, but I had to get it because of Mega Man. Hyperkin controller for the Sega Genesis. Really nice in the hand. Couple OEM Genesis controllers here. The 3-button. I have the 6-button too hiding somewhere in here. This is really awesome. This is an 8BitDo SN30, which they don't make this particular one anymore, but as you can see, it looks pretty much like a total replica of the original Super Famicom controller, except the shoulder buttons are better, as well as the D-pad. And then the bottom drawer is for my arcade sticks. Here's my Saturn arcade stick. This is a Hori Fighting Stick SS. Still have the box, which is pretty cool. If you're looking for a good Sega Saturn arcade stick, go with this one. The American and PAL version of the Sega Virtua Stick. They're big membrane, so it's basically just an oversized game controller. Same with the joystick on it, but this has micro switches, and I believe these are too, at least they feel like it. They're not like Sanwa quality, but this is much nicer than the Sega branded one, and it's also all metal. What collection is complete without the NES Advantage? This is such a fun little controller to use. No, it's not like a real arcade stick, but who cares? Even though they're membranes, they're very responsive for the buttons. Mine's yellow just a little bit, but it's not terrible. I may still retro bright this eventually. And this is the 6-button arcade stick for the Sega Genesis. Fun little controller as well. Big membranes on this, so not quite arcade quality, but it's good enough. The main reason why I bought this is for Eternal Champions, because Eternal Champions has moves that are just ridiculous, like hold A and Z and then left, right, and then let go, stuff like that. You can't really do that very well on a normal Sega Genesis controller. This is also very good for shooters like Thunder Force. And lastly, we have this Xbox 360 fighting stick. I can't remember where I got this. I think it was just at a flea market. That's the reason why I have it, but I put Seimitsu buttons in this here. Seimitsu joysticks. This is a very, very nice joystick. I mostly use this just for emulation because it's a USB connection. And then here's the shelf with the actual collection. Here has a really awesome Dreamcast sign that Gary from Rock Solid Productions actually sold me. Really cool guy, and that's actually a very, very good quality sign considering it's 3D printed. It doesn't have that cross-hatching BS on it, and it lights up. Check this out. Awesome. This shelf here, I have officially run out of space, as you can see, so I'm going to have to come up with another solution once I start buying more stuff. Got Lode Runner chilling on the top. Donkey Kong Country, that's one of my childhood favorites, so I wanted the legit copy of that. For NES games, I try to kind of sort it by the company, so you can see all the Konami stuff together, Capcom stuff together. Because I'm a huge Castlevania fan, of course, we have Castlevania 1 through 3. Castlevania right there. Dragon Quest. Dracula's Curse, Contra, and then Super C. I don't have a ton of games like these huge YouTube channels, but I've got all the bangers. Or not all the bangers, but a lot of them. We got Manhattan Project, TMNT, one of the best hockey games of all time, Blades of Steel. I prefer it to ice hockey. Tiny Toon Adventures, got the first TMNT right there. Rescue Rangers, I don't know if I would consider this a hidden gem, but I don't hear many people talk about it. This is an extremely fun game. DuckTales, Little Nemo Dream Master, Codenamed Viper. I don't really hear very many people talk about this one either. This is basically Rolling Thunder. And it's weird because of the color palette on this game. It looks like the dude's not wearing any pants when you're playing. Mega Man 3, this is the only one I have, but it's most people's favorite. My favorite's actually 2 and 6, but this is a solid entry for sure. I kind of have an odd love for game show games, probably because I played a lot of them in the MS-DOS days on the computer, so I like to get some of these game show games. Here's Jeopardy, Maniac Mansion chilling up there, Ghosts and Goblins, Bionic Commando, Styanax. That's a really cool little game here. I actually like the art style to that better than the arcade version. Here's a computer game that I used to love playing. That's apparently on the NES. You got Pipe Dream. Karnov, hard as balls, but it's fun. That's one of my childhood favorites. You gotta have Blaster Master. I'm happy to say almost all my cartridges are in really great condition. Ice Hockey in there twice. Kid Cool, yeah. Dragon Spirit, that's another gem right there. Really awesome shooter. You gotta have Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Mario Duck Hunt, Hogan's Alley, Batman, that's another must. Another Castlevania game, you got Castlevania 4. Super Game Boy, fun little unit, especially when you have a flash card. Thundercade here, another game show game, Wheel of Fortune. Dr. Chaos, I don't even really know what this game is like. I haven't actually played it. This is actually my wife's game, so I just put it on the shelf. Vegas Dream, Casino Kid, gotta have Ninja Gaiden. Also gotta have Double Dragon 2, banger. For those who don't know, if you signed up for Nintendo Power, they would actually give you this game for free. So these are everywhere. Fun game though, the first Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest game, so you gotta have that. It's very grindy though, you gotta have some patience, it's pretty rudimentary. Of course, the obligatory Mario 3, Tetris here. The reason why I bought this is because that kid who literally beat the game to the point of the thing crashing, so I wanted to see how far I could get on this game. Well, I damn sure didn't get that far. I got to like level 10. Dr. Mario, only a couple bucks. Star Tropics, and Galaga. I love using the NES Advantage for this game. And the PS1 stuff. I'm mostly just going for the stuff I had as a kid, including a couple others that I wanted as a kid, basically. But Cool Borders for... A lot of people shit on this game, and to be told, it's not really that great of a game, but it is so cheesy, I can't help but love it. It's kind of like a precursor to Mortal Kombat 4 before they actually decided to make Mortal Kombat 4. They used that same engine, I believe. Ridge Racer 4, banger. This one also comes with the first Ridge Racer as a bonus disc. Cool Borders 3, this came with quite a few demo discs, so I played the demo a shit ton, so I had to get the full version. Siphon Filter 1, 2, and 3 here. Awesome games. I don't know if they have aged well, aside from the first one. I haven't really played 2 and 3 just yet. I remember, though, that the voice acting in 3 especially is hilarious, and the multiplayer I remember being extremely fun on the third one. Jet Moto 2 and Jet Moto 3. I still need to get the first one. My love for these games, once again, came from those cool PlayStation Underground demo discs, so I had to get the full versions here for my collection. I like 3 just a little bit more than 2, but 2 is still awesome. And then this is one that not many people ever talk about, but this is a lot like Jet Moto, just on hoverboards. And you also haul ass on this. It's almost too fast, but it's extremely fun. Check that out if you haven't played it. Die Hard Trilogy, fun little game. Another couple games that I got as a result of the demo discs. The one that actually came with the PlayStation back in the day, at least the DualShock model. So you have Apocalypse. This is a really cool run and gun shooter. If you haven't played this, it rocks. Here's Wild 9, really awesome platformer. You basically can whip your enemies up and down because you have like this little grappling hook that throws them around, except it's like a little electric grappling hook thing. Tekken 2 and Tekken 3. Don't give a damn about Tekken 1, so I probably won't get it. I flipped out the first time I ever saw this in the arcade. Castlevania Symphony of the Night. No PS1 collection should go without this game. This is my favorite game of all time. This is my number one here, so had to have it. I still need to get Chronicles, though. But Chronicles is, yeah. Moto Racer, really cool motorcycle game from EA back when they were still good. Cardinal Sin, I don't know if I would consider this a hidden gem or not, but it's a weapon-based fighter. It has some pretty cool characters in it. Snowcross here. I actually got this because I had the Game Boy Color game Polaris Snowcross when I was a kid. So when I saw this, I was like, let's try the actual PS1 version. Super common game, but this is pretty fun. Sled Storm. So talking about those demo discs like PlayStation Underground, this is something that not enough channels really cover. And there is something that needs to be said about these. The reason why I bought this, number one, from nostalgia. I had this back when I was a kid, but there is actually a lot of extra stuff like behind the scenes footage. There's like commercials and things for Crash 3 in there. There's a video with Stuart Copeland talking about the soundtrack to Spyro. Really cool additional content here. Don't get this for the demos, get it for all the extras. Let the holiday gameplay begin. And here's my somewhat unorganized stack of PS2 games. I always have to try to make a point to mention this game whenever somebody talks about hidden gems or anything like that, or if they just want a good racer. This is Kinetica. Really awesome racing game, very fast-paced. The gimmick behind this is you're these cybernetic androids that have wheels built in, and you do tricks to do boosts, things like that. Has a really awesome soundtrack. You seriously need to check this out if you've never heard of it. Got most of the Tony Hawk games. You got Tony Hawk 4 here, First Underground. I actually didn't care for the first one. I like the second one here. First SSX, sweet. Project 8, American Wasteland. I played this a lot with friends. I like to whack each other with skateboards. 3, this is my favorite in the series, is 3. That's a fucking 10 out of 10 game there. Burnout Dominator down here. This is a port of the PSP game, so that's really cool. I love the PSP version. Both Katamaris. You know, we love Katamari. SSX3, I actually prefer it on GameCube. It's just a little prettier looking. Midnight Club 3, Dub Edition Remix, Gran Turismo 3 and 4, another Castlevania. You got Lament of Innocence. Played the hell of that when I was a kid. Burnout Revenge, Burnout 3, Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution. I got thousands of hours on that game. Klonoa 2, Maximo, another Castlevania, Curse of Darkness, GTA Liberty City Stories. Liberty City Stories is also another cool little PSP port there. Smuggler's Run, Dirge of Cerberus Loose. Something to mention about Tekken 4 here is, back when I tried this, I had already played Soul Calibur 2, and I was pretty disappointed with this one compared to Soul Calibur as well as Tekken 3 at the time. It was okay, but it didn't seem like anything special. Fast forward to now, though, and this has become one of my favorites. It has a really cool atmosphere, I think, that you don't get with the rest of the Tekken series. One thing I wish they would bring back, too, is the way the levels are. You have obstructions in this, so like you could be in a parking garage, back your opponent into like a pillar or something, and go to town on them. You can't really do that on the rest of them because it's just a big open plain, right? So that's pretty unique on this, and this has an awesome soundtrack, too. This jazzy soundtrack. I love the airport level. I love the rooftop level. Yeah, I've got to where I play this one probably more than any of them. Some more goodies on this shelf. As you can see, it's in the corner behind this couch because space in here is a little limited. So on the top here, you can see I have an assortment of different boxes for controllers, things like that. First shelf is all my comics and graphic novels. I may go into that in a different video. Some more comics. I have a few mini arcades in here, like the Street Fighter one. That's a really cool little unit. I had to have this. Micro switches in there. They're kind of like cherry blue switches. But this is actually the arcade ROM too, so it's kind of fun to play with. The My Arcade Galaga machine. It's the NES ROM. I was on a little mini arcade kick for a while. My Arcade Dig Dug. NES ROM again. Centipede hiding back there. Some UMDs. Of course, another Castlevania. You got Dracula X Chronicles. Tony Hawk Underground 2. A lot of people don't really care about the UMD movies, but I still love the novelty. I think they're really cool to have. And I actually do sometimes watch them if I'm on the go somewhere, like visiting family in Alabama, something like that. Here's the shelf with all the handhelds. I use these little baseball card type stands to hold these. They're actually pretty sturdy, and you can get them really cheap. Couple other little bips and bobs hiding in my shelf here. This is basically just where I couldn't fit them any other place, but most of these Genesis games here are loose, and they're just my wife from when she was a kid. You know, you got your customers, Sonic 2, you got Column, Street Fighter, all that stuff. NHL 94, one of the best hockey games ever. Couple things hiding down on this next shelf. So, got NBA Jam TE complete. I had to have this. Even has the registration card back there. This rental case, the manual for Donkey Kong Country, case for NHL 94. Another one of the best hockey games ever. This one is complete, NHL 95. It's just the case to the EverDrive, Super EverDrive. And this here is cool. I still have yet to play this. I keep procrastinating, but this is Block'em Sock'em. It's a game that John Hancock made. I met him at Torg, and really cool guy to talk to, and he was nice enough to sign this for me when I bought it from him. Cool little puzzle game for the Genesis. This is also on several other systems, too. So, I have this Catwoman comic that I found for a couple bucks at a flea market. I didn't buy it because it's Catwoman. I bought it because of this ad on the back. NBA Jam TE. Now you're on fire. Isn't that awesome? Here's a couple more flea market finds. I had no idea these existed. They made Darkstalkers comics, Night Warriors. I've got issues 3 and 6 here. I had no clue they existed. I just accidentally came across them. And then for the latest free comic book day, I noticed this, Street Fighter vs. Final Fight. Got a few pop figures that are kind of nostalgic to me. You see Dexter, Inspector Gadget. This asshole Johnny Bravo doesn't want to keep standing. Scorpion and Sub-Zero, both the game version as well as the movie versions. Dilbert, Bob Ross, Eddie. A fake Rick and a real Rick, and then Morty. And we have a bunch of loose stuff. A lot of this is my wife's. Somebody years ago actually tried to steal all her PS1 games. Well, none of them were in the case, so we still have the discs here. But, so Rough Trigger, I don't even know what that is. DMC3. Taito Legends 2, that's a cool one. Duke Nukem Time to Kill. Spyros, Crash, Rayman, Rainbow Six, Bomberman Fantasy Race, that's pretty cool. Gex 3, I haven't actually played Gex 3, I don't know if it's any good. Crash, Alien, Spyro again, another demo disc. Emperor's New Groove, Slack Coopers, Tomb Raider, another copy of Castlevania Lament of Innocence, Duke Nukem 3D for PC, and an extra copy of War Gods. This has a Blockbuster sticker on it, so that's pretty cool. We also have a Castlevania fridge magnet. Another cool item that we found to add to our Castlevania collection is this 1,000-piece puzzle. For the handheld collection, you have a Vita 1000. This is in immaculate condition. I have the box with this too. Vita 2000, also in immaculate condition, and I have the box. GBASP, this is actually a reshell. It's not the OEM shell, but it does have an AGS 101 screen in it, as well as a Easy Flash Omega Definitive Flash cart. 2 Castlevanias for Game Boy, Adventure and Belmont's Revenge. Still need to get Kid Dracula and Legends, though. And for the DSs, these are actually all my wife's. I just keep them in here for safety and displaying, but here's a blue DS Lite with the Nerf armor case. She doesn't trust the hinge on this. I think the hinge is fine, but it's hers. Basic red 2DS in pretty good shape. Let's see what's in it. Got Metroid 2 chilling in there. And then a 3DS XL in blue. What do we got in here? R4 Gold. Here are the PSPs. This is a 1000 in excellent shape. I only got this for 30 bucks because it was sold for parts. All it really needed was a battery. PSP 3000 in red, really cool looking system. I still have the box for this too. PSP Go, these are super hard to find in good shape. Even if you pay in top dollar, these things are usually beat up, but this is in immaculate condition. Have the box for that too. This is my wife's Donkey Kong Jr. Game & Watch. Really cool little unit. Need to put some batteries in it, but it works fine. I love having this thing. It's just so cool. And then last, we have the Game Boys. Here's the original DMG. I did have to repair the screen, just had to reflow the solder, but it's great. Love having this. And here's the Game Boy Color in Kiwi Green. Really good condition. This has had some stuff done to it, though. The first obvious thing is I put a backlit screen in this. I want to say it's a Funny Playing brand, but I can't remember, to be honest with you. I put a glass lens on it. I was missing the battery cover, so I had to get another battery cover. So it doesn't quite match, but that's okay. I have a flash cart back there. I recapped it and also changed the speaker, so it is quite loud compared to what it used to be, as you can see. I'm not going to show too much of this, but we got some modern stuff too. As you can see, we got quite a bit of Switch. I'm not about to go through every one of them, but I'll show you some standout things here. The 2 Game & Watches, the Zelda and the Mario. I had to try the Zelda, but the Mario's still sealed. Got Goliaths and Dadass. Coming down here are a couple really cool items. So we have a limited run version of Curse of the Moon 2 in this cool little NES style box. And this is probably my favorite thing in our entire collection. A complete in box copy of Dracula's Curse for the NES. It even still has the styrofoam insert on the inside. CIB copy of the first Castlevania NES version for the Game Boy Advance. If you couldn't tell, I like Castlevania. There's Dawn of Sorrow, that's complete. Portrait of Ruins complete. We're still missing Order of Ecclesia. This is still sealed. This is a Requiem collection from Limited Run. Took them long enough to ship it to us. Some 3DS games, some PS4 games there. More PS4. Some PS3 going on. We have our PS3 modded, but because space is an issue, we got some legit games too here. A few GameCube games. You got Metroid 1 and 2. You got Wind Waker here, Harvest Moon. Another cool item. This is another one by Paul Niemeyer, painting for a robot named Fight. This one's signed too, which is cool. I don't know what these are called. Little bead pixel version of a Metroid. Got a few other random things in here. A couple more amiibos. You got Bowser, Golden Knight, Plague Knight. We also have an orange cat named Butters. He's a really rare find, one of a kind item. He costs $3.50. So that's the game collection. I hope it was at least somewhat interesting. I know it's not massive like a lot of bigger channels. I'm just a dude in an apartment, but there is no shortage of fun here, as you can see. That, and I have more hobbies than I have time and money for. But until next time, horns up.